Say hi, everyone. You had to work really hard one spring. You didn't even go into that.
To be honest, that's what I was thinking.
You
though.
didn't even go
I'm
that
just telling
in
you what I
depth.
was
When
thinking.
you were telling me, your main thing was. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. So today Erin and I have a special video for you guys, and it's one pertaining to this little baby girl right here. It's going to be divided into a series because I don't want them to be too long, but today's one's going to be focused on the question of how this guy right here, I had to reflect for a second, how this guy right here felt about having another baby.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think it's probably fair to begin the segment by talking about, bringing it back a little bit and talking about how you felt when I tied my tubes, because I did do that initially before I got back to this boy.
Yeah, that's right. She did. She made that decision. After Charlotte was born, you decided that you wanted to tie your tubes.
Yeah, that was after my third child.
Yeah, we were going to have 4, I think.
Yeah, we spoke about having 4, but then after my third, I mean, if you guys don't quite know the story, I do have videos out there, but I do know, we have to like brush up on things every now and again after getting like a flood of new subscribers. So I did have, after my third, I decided to tie my tubes, and that's because like I already, throughout my pregnancy I gained a lot of pregnancy weight. It was like 250 pounds combined, 100 with the first, 85 with the second, and 75 with the third. And at that point, I don't know, I think we were so young, I was so focused on trying to get my body back too, and we were so young. We weren't in a place that sometimes, I don't know.
I think she had her other reasons, I'm sure.
I do, and I've explained other reasons in another video. It's called My Biggest Regrets on my beauty channel. So you guys should check that out. I did explain it in that video. But how did you feel when I decided to tie my tubes?
I think that I was okay with it. She seemed pretty determined to make this decision.
I did.
And the doctors kept asking her over and over again. So me asking her over and over again wouldn't have helped.
Well, you didn't try to stop me.
No, I mean, I didn't try to stop her. We had 3 children at that time.
And you were busy with school.
I was busy with school.
You were very busy with school.
And Michaela was, 4 when Charlotte was born?
Well, we had them all spaced out, kind of like 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years apart.
2 years, 19 months, somewhere in between there.
So,
apart.
We had, 3 young children, so I thought that if that was the decision that she wanted to make, then I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean...
And to be honest, we did speak about having more kids. We said we would adopt. That was the topic of... Right?
Yes, that's right.
And...
So we did make that...
We made that
discussion.
decision. But yeah, I was fine with the decision until like 7 years into it, when I started saying, I feel like I want to have another...
Was it 7 years?
Or maybe 8 years, because it was just like last year, right?
Yeah. It was 2 years ago, I think. No.
I know, but it wasn't a full 2 years that I thought.
Not a full 2 years.
But it was like a year and a half ago I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Well, before we moved to the city that we're in now, I thought about it, and it was resting on my heart, and I kept thinking about it, but I didn't really bring it to his attention right away because I just didn't even think it was possible. I'm like, my tubes are tied, so the only option was adoption, which we kind of looked in when we moved to the other house.
We did look into it a little bit.
We looked into it, we're not ready. We weren't ready for it by any means, but we thought, like, if that's something that we really want to do, we should prepare ourselves by doing research. And in the midst of that, like, it felt, I don't know, I kept feeling like really pulled in the direction to want to have one of my own. And I was checking it outside because I felt bad because our attention was kind of focused on adoption. And then at the same time, I felt somewhat lost because I felt like I couldn't have another one of my own.
Yes.
It was a very tough time.
It's a tough time for her, for sure. She was going through a tough time, and then she brought it to me.
And then I brought it to you. And how did you feel?
I wasn't sure about having another at that time. Yeah. Because our 3 children were, our youngest was, 8?
Yeah.
I thought that we would just continue on with the progress that we were making. And with the girls all grown up, and Sarah and I in our 40s, we would kind of have that time.
We didn't even go into
To
that.
be honest,
You didn't
that's
even,
what I was thinking.
you
though.
didn't even go
I'm
that
just
in
telling you what I
depth
was
with when you
thinking.
were telling me. Your main thing was you were concerned about my health because
That's true. I was very concerned about your health,
I
yeah.
had gestational diabetes with my pregnancy. So that was your main concern for
That's
me.
one huge concern.
Yeah, and the other concern was like what you said, the age,
Yeah,
the
the
age
age.
gap.
Age gap, and her heart was really set on this. Like she didn't like hearing any. Like it hurt her to hear that, for sure.
Yeah, but I didn't push you. What
No,
did,
you
what
didn't
did I
push
do?
No,
At
but
that point-
I could feel that it was tugging at
At
me.
that point, and yeah, because at that point, I don't know, when you're feeling something so deep, I can't control it, right?
Yeah, no, you can't.
So at that point, I spoke to one of my girlfriends. I was talking to her just about how I was feeling, and she just encouraged me to pray, right? I was saying that I was just talking to her about having another child, and she was encouraging me to pray about it. And you never know what God has in store for you. So
No.
that's all I did was pray. I didn't really even bring it up to you, but it was a tough time. I prayed and prayed.
And I didn't know how it was going to happen, to be honest.
So what were you saying?
Talking about financially.
Oh yeah,
how
you weren't
things-
sure.
I didn't know how things were going to work.
Huh?
The cost of the surgery. Right? So, God provided a way for us to.
Can I share with them how that happened?
She's saying that we should sell the house within a year. And I was like,
That's a lie.
I was like, that's
no
no way, we
no.
should- we could. I was like, no, you're saying we could.
Huh?
You're saying we could.
No, you. Okay, first of all, you wanted to sell our home. You wanted to sell our home initially, right? But you wanted to get stuff done. You wanted to do the basement. You wanted, right? You were renovating the basement. We had
Yeah,
to do
so
the
I wanted to get
backsplash.
things done.
And this is at our old
Yeah,
house.
in our old house, I did. Yeah.
And things kind of sat there for months on end.
we
And
did. Yeah.
then you were like, okay, you want to sell. And I'm like, well, I think we can do it within a year, but we have to get cracking on stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, long story short, I had to work pretty hard one spring, and then we sold it in the summer. And by doing that, we were able to afford the surgery.
You had to work really hard one spring. Last time I checked, I helped to carry all that drywall.
She did.
Guys, do you know how heavy drywall is? I lifted pounds
Yeah,
and pounds of drywall
She helped me lift the drywall to the ceiling.
to the ceiling. I carried
She
it.
raised.
I carried it from the garage to the
she-
basement.
She worked those shoulders.
Don't
That's
take all
right.
the credit though.
No, I'm not taking.
You just did. You
half the
said
credit.
you.
I'm not even taking half the credit. She did a lot, and she cleaned up
Anyways,
the house.
And I cleaned.
I
Oh,
was showing, so.
I packed
She
the
did a lot.
entire
She,
house.
She earned that surgery. She worked hard to earn that surgery because she did a lot of work.
Anyways, the long story short, because he's beating around the bush.
I'm not trying
Long
to
story
say anything.
short-
Did I say anything wrong?
Long story short, we were planning on selling the house, and I prayed and prayed. We kind of missed the stage of you actually coming to terms with it. I was explaining that I prayed, and kind of left
She
it.
did. She prayed a lot.
And
for
then
it.
in the midst of a
And
conversation,
at the same time, I think I was coming to terms
you were coming to terms with the
us,
idea.
with the idea of us having another child.
And so,
So-
in the middle of talking to you one day, you talked about when we have another child. You just kind of mentioned it. Do you remember that? You kind of just mentioned it, saying like something
I
about
mentioned
yeah,
it casually.
casually. You're like something about like when maybe we can do that when we have another child. And then I was like, I was kind of shocked because you didn't. I don't know if you caught yourself or if you were even aware that you said that. But you did.
I don't think we had a formal conversation about it right away. But I came around to the idea of having another baby, which I'm so happy to have done. Absolutely.
She is chugging away.
She's so sweet. And I think the other thing is that if we were gonna have one child, we'd probably want to have two children. Because Zoe otherwise is going to be really spoiled with three older sisters and no one to share all of her toys with.
She has this look on her face like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
she's like,
Look, show the...
why would I ever have to
Come
share?
on. Are you
Yeah.
spoiled?
She's spoiled.
Are you spoiled?
But
Look at the
and it's
laugh.
fun to spoil her, but we don't want to spoil her too much. Right?
No, it's okay.
But anyway, so we came around to the idea, and then when we were looking for a home, I told Sarah we should get the biggest home we can get. I want to max out the mortgage. Here, I want to max out the mortgage.
It's kind of crazy.
I want to get.
This man is
I don't
crazy.
want to get the nicest home, but I want to get the biggest home that we could afford.
And I agree to that that extent, because at the end of the day, you can always upgrade your home and make it
That's
better.
right.
But I wasn't going for the biggest home. I kept showing him things. I was like, "Oh, this is nice. This is a
nice.
good
This is
size,"
nice home,
and he
yeah.
would be like, "No."
I know. But she was still looking at a 3-bedroom.
So that was like a tough.
You're still looking at 3-bedroom homes.
No, well, that was the market was kind of crazy.
It was crazy.
We
The
didn't
market
have
was getting crazier every week.
our options were kind of
It was
limited. So
insane.
I was saying
Our
like.
options were getting
And
limited.
our other house was really tiny, but at the end of the day, the main area that we wanted to improve on was just like the living space, not even so much a sleeping area. So I was willing to compromise.
Because guys, if you ever look,
But we're digressing. We can
Yeah.
talk about that in another video. But
we wanted a big home because if we're gonna have
a bigger family.
So, I was on board.
Well, you were on board, but at that point, we still didn't know how we were going to afford to pay for it, because tubal reversal. A lot of you guys have asked how much we paid for my surgery, and I will reveal it in this video. The cost of this particular surgery was $6,000 here in Canada, and I think it obviously varies across surgeon and wherever you live, but that's how much we paid out of pocket. I know I got a lot of questions about that.
Yeah.
And I know it may not sound like a lot to some people, but it's a lot for a lot of people. And we didn't know where that money was going to come from per se. But when we were selling our house, we had a particular. Are you okay?
We had a particular price
We had a particular price.
that we were going to sell for it, and then at the very last minute, Sarah said, "You know what? Let's just increase it $5,000.
Yeah.
See if we get it." And we got it within 24 hours.
Yeah. I
It
said.
blows my mind.
I'm going to put on the total for my surgery on there. And if
Yeah.
it happens, it happens. I was like, if it doesn't, it doesn't. We just
we
be
come
patient.
to a compromise. Yeah,
Right? And yeah,
it happened.
24 hours later,
Boom.
boom,
That was it.
it was there.
It was there. Yeah. So Sarah made it happen.
So when did we do, oh my gosh, she spat up. You spat up?
Aw, on that beautiful shirt of yours. Oh, we're gonna have to get another shirt on for her. Yeah. So after we sold the house, moved in, Sarah had her surgery.
Yeah,
Within
we
the-
moved
within
in.
6 months.
We moved in October,
Yeah.
and I had
then-
my surgery in
in
December.
December, yeah.
That's not 6 months.
no
2 months.
from
Oh, yeah, from
listing.
yeah, from listing. So
Yep.
that was the journey
That was the journey.
to me having my surgery.
And this
Now I was
stinky baby.
we were gonna talk about how we felt about me having the surgery. Should we do that in a separate video?
We should do that in a separate.
We'll do that in a separate
Yeah, we'll
video
do
because
that in
this
a
is already long.
It's a long
But say
video,
hi to baby.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's a journey to us getting to the point where I had my surgery. And if you guys want to see
And I
part
was-
2, comment down below and let
Yeah.
us know.
And I'm so happy I made that decision with
Right?
Sarah. Yeah, because Zoe's so sweet.
She's
And
adorable.
all the girls love her, right? And it's all about just a big family. It's a lot of fun.
Say hi, everyone.
I love you.